Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Live Magic Q&A with me, your host, Madame Pamita, and my special guest this week is the amazing, wonderful, super knowledgeable Dr. Beverley. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see her because I haven't seen her in so long, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. If you were just stumbling upon this video on YouTube or some other place, who knows where things end up, but where I post them is on YouTube. If you're stumbling on this on YouTube, this is a free live Q&A session that we have every Sunday, except for the first Sunday when we do a paid workshop, but almost every Sunday we have it here. It is at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's a Zoom meeting. And if you would like to join us here, we would love to have you here. All you have to do is go to spellsquad.com and sign up, and you'll get the link to join us and have some fun with us in what I like to call the Spell Squad Clubhouse. So head on over to spellsquad.com, sign up, and you'll get the link, and you can join us here and have fun with us every Sunday. Now, I have a couple announcements. First, I'm going to let you guys know that on January 22nd, the New Moon Open Roads Skull Spell Kit Workshop and Spell Service are opening up. They will be open for 1 week starting on January 22nd, and that's for the February new moon. So if you want to get on that, you want to put that on your calendar, January 22nd. And then I have a workshop coming up at the end of the month through Catland Books, catlandbooks.com. You go there and you will see that on January 27th, I'm going to be doing Love Magic 101, which is perfect because Valentine's Day is coming. So you want to come and learn about love magic, come and join me there. And you can book that not through me, but through Catland. So you go to catlandbooks.com to book your space in that workshop. And that's going to be coming up January 27th. Now, got all my business out of the way, I get to talk about Dr. Beverley now. So Dr. Beverley is a two-headed conjure one. You see she has only one head. She's going to tell you what two-headed means. An empath and a justified spiritual worker. She is known in some circles as a conjure doctor. She's a root worker, a diviner, skilled in bone reading and tarot. She's formerly a Druid high priestess of the Druidic craft of the wise, the American rite. She's a lifelong student of herbalism, aromatherapy, African-American and Caribbean American folk magic. So we've got all of that stuff you can ask questions about, which is very, very exciting. Dr. Beverley custom blends and handcrafts spiritual baths, conditioned soaps, oils, incense, and sachets in small batches, freshly made to order for each client, which is so exciting. We're going to talk about that a little bit. She's a Reiki master and a longtime yogi. She believes in the mind, body, soul connection to spiritual growth and healing. She's available for readings and spiritual counseling. She believes that conjure, also known as hoodoo, belongs to the people, and her mission is to share it. Her religion is justice, and her focus is liberation. Ah, love that, love that. She has a soft spot for sex workers, dancers, gamblers, activists, and all those who are discriminated against in any way. She may be found on Facebook. Not on Facebook anymore. You cut the cord, didn't you?
I forgot to update that.
That's all right. She's online, but you can find her online at docbev, docbev.com. Beautiful, easy. I love that URL. So easy. Docbev, just right to the point. Welcome, Dr. Beverley. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to see you. It's been what, 3-4 years, something like that, maybe longer. But anyway, it's great to see you. Your hair's gotten really long.
My hair's really long because I haven't been to a hairdresser to trim it. It's also really gray too. It's pandemic, whatever,
Yeah, no, we're easy. That's why mine's wrapped up. This is the easiest do ever.
So and it's easy. Gorgeous too. Gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I am so excited to talk about, you've got some, well, first of all, we were talking before we let you guys in, and I was getting caught up with all that Dr. Beverley's been up to. And I'm just so excited about all the stuff she's got going on. First of all, I want to talk about, I've known you as a reader for a long, long time, but I didn't know until I got your bio that you were doing these oils and soaps and all these special things and all these very custom, caringly, like I think of like a mother hen carrying over her eggs. Like you look at these oils and it's not something that's mass produced or something that's, it's something that's so lovingly made by you. And you're now it was kind of an off the menu, like
Mhm.
In-N-Out burger off the menu.
Yes, yes,
Off the menu,
yes,
you knew you had to ask for the secret, hey, Dr. Bev, can I get an oil? You could get it
yes,
that way. So,
yes,
but
yes.
now you're kind of maybe bringing it out a little more into the open.
Well, I've had a lot of calls, Pamita, from my clients, long clients, people that I've done readings for, people who have come to me for spiritual advice or assistance, or, just for various reasons. And I've always helped them to make small batches of magical, of medicine, small batches. So it's become so popular. Some of them have become, some of the formulations have become so popular that I'm getting wider and wider and wider requests for them. And I'm actually going to add a limited few to my website. My website, up until this point, for the last 3 years, going on 4 years, has been strictly readings, spiritual counseling, that sort of thing. I do bone readings. I specialize in bone readings. I can also read all manner of other things, pendulum, tarot, you know. I'm not that good at, I can't even think what they are. Oh my God, what are they called? The little stones that you throw.
Runes,
Obviously, I don't know
runes.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm not a
I
rune
don't,
person
I'm
either.
not even gonna, I'm not, if I don't even know what they're called, I'm not even gonna try to play you that way. But I definitely am a bone reader. I learned from the esteemed Michelle Jackson, who you and I both know. You and I both know her, and she is wonderful. And I learned from her, and I have her book. And so that's what I was doing. I was helping people with readings. And, when we do readings for people and we're doing conjure, also known as hoodoo, we are led by spirit to provide remedies. And so these remedies have become more and more popular. So I'm going to take a limited few of them and start putting them on my website, which you have said is www.bev.com. And I haven't done it yet, and I'm not sure I even know how to do it, but my husband has some tech savvy and he's going to put them on for me. So
So good.
we're upward and onward. We're moving forward and it's all good. And right now I am focused on helping people get through, my clients get through some very difficult times. All of us, and I mean all of us, have had a rough year. This has been, this last 2020, sayonara, goodbye, good riddance. That was a horrible year. And people have been left traumatized, um, sorrowful, grieving, at wits' ends, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you know, and I find that people are really suffering right now. And so, what my focus has been this year has been trying to focus people on self care. I know that's a buzzword, but it means different things to different people. For you, self care might be a lovely long bubble bath with candles. Exactly. It's good for me too. For someone else, it might be a nice hike. They need to get out. They need to to take care of themselves. They must get out and stretch the legs and breathe deeply. Um, some people need more sleep for self-care, and some people need less. Okay. Um, self-care is so subjective and always has been. And right now it's just a buzzword. So, what I am trying to help people do, people that come to me and say, I'm stressed out. I'm at my wit's end. Oh my God, look what's happening. Oh shit. Look, oh, pardon my language.
That's all right. We're
Oh
not,
my
no
goodness.
FCC here.
Look what's happening over here. Look what's happening over there. I try to help people find a sense of balance in all of this crazy, because my mother, who is a nurse and a very, my 86-year-old mother is a nurse and still a nurse, still doing a little private practice here and there. She's a very pious Christian. And she always says that the first person you have to take care of before you take care of anyone else is yourself. So my focus is trying to help people understand what it is for them, because this is not a one size fits all. This is not a one size fits all. And we as magical people, we as spiritual people can help them get what they need, find what they need, discover what they need through readings, through counseling. But they really have to borrow a little phrase from The Princess and the Bride, Disney's Princess and the Bride, they really have to dig a little deeper. They have to dig and find out what it is that's going to give them that sense of peace. Because another thing my mother would say is that disease is a sense of a lack of ease. This isn't her famous quote. Everybody knows this. Disease is dis-ease. It's a lack of ease. So what we want to do is find balance in all things. And what we need to do when we're all tripping, for whatever reason we're feeling the anxiety, for whatever reason we're scared, for whatever reason we feel unsettled, for whatever reason we are worried, for whatever reason we are concerned about the future. And for so many people, those are legitimate concerns. Legitimate concerns. We have to remember that we have to get into the core of our being and understand what it is that we as an individual person needs. And once you know what you need, then you or someone like you and me can help with the cure, can help with the medicine, can help with the path forward.
Absolutely.
I think right now we all need to focus our minds to find clarity and to find some peace within ourselves amid all this chaos.
100%. Oh my gosh, it's the main work. I get, it's like you get bombarded, and I don't look at I look at written news. I really limit like watching video news or anything like that, because I feel like it makes me feel powerless and makes me feel beat down and powerless. So I try to limit my access to all of that and pay attention to how it is affecting me. If I start to get that hopeless feeling, despair, I go, ooh, I gotta give myself a break and work on something else. Look at something else right now. So it's a lot of that. It's mindfulness, and you're helping your clients get to that mindful state where they go, oh, I need this walk, I need that bath, I need that thing. And then supporting them with these amazing tools of the herbs, the soaps, the oils, all of these things that can help support us so powerfully. I mean, we do this work because we know it works, right? We know that magic works. We know that the spiritual work works. So I have two more questions for you before we get to the questions from all of you guys, but I have some questions for Doc Beverley. So the first one, so I'll tell you what they are ahead of time. Like your beautiful, amazing path of your spiritual path, that might take we could probably talk about that for 45 minutes, but in a brief way, talk about that path that you have and
I'd be happy to.
You're going. And the other thing is that you don't have on your bio, when you go correct your bio and take off the Facebook thing, I have a suggestion that you add teacher on there, because you are an amazing teacher. I've seen you teach. I know that you teach all the time. You teach at these workshops and symposiums all over. So maybe add teacher to your bio, because you are a teacher. You're an amazing teacher. So
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So you can share about that teaching thing. You've got something coming up too, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, do I? Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Okay. Well, I'll just do a shameless plug right now. All right. I believe it's the weekend of April 17th and 18th. And if I'm off, I'm only off by a day or so. This is the Detroit Hoodoo Festival. First annual Detroit Hoodoo Festival, sponsored by the Motown witch herself, Yvette Wyatt. And we are going to be there, and we are going to teach conjure, and we are going to have classes, and we are going to have a great time, Corona willing. I really would love to be there in person. I would love to go in person, and I hope we can all be there in person. But that's coming up this April. I believe it's the 17th and the 18th, 2021. So that's what I've got going on. But thank you for asking about my other question. My background is it's very straightforward as far as I'm concerned, but some people find it to be an interesting path that I ended up where I am now. But I was raised in a evangelical Christian, Protestant Christian home, evangelical. And my parents are Jamaican immigrants, and I'm first generation American. And they always acknowledged the magic of their island, the magic of the Jamaican people, the indigenous magic. It's called Obia. They always acknowledged it. Obia is very similar. I mean, what am I doing? I'm generalizing. I'm breaking it down to lowest common denominators. So it's similar to hoodoo in that there is power in the herbs, the roots, the flowers, the stems themselves. That the green earth holds power. And there's magic and there are incantations and that sort of thing. And what the whole point is to affect change. Just the way we do magic is to affect change, is to affect conditions, is to bring luck, make protection, do revenge, bring love, bring children, etc., etc. All of the themes that the human animal is concerned about: security, love, and the ability to fund all of the above. But my parents were evangelical Christians and very, very strict, and would not tolerate the thought of anything but their denomination's view of the Bible. And as a small child, I saw spirits. I particularly saw garden spirits. To this day, I'm a gardener. If I don't have something living in my house, something's not right. I have a garden. In fact, I live in the mountains, so I have too much vertical land and I can't build on it. I can't build a garden on it. So I have decks around my house, and I have pots and pots of herbs and flowers. And I tried growing vegetables this summer, and I did pretty well when it came to tomatoes and squash and hot peppers and that sort of thing. But I've always had a gardening spirit. Both of my parents are gardeners. And so I didn't understand how our religion was all about the spirit, but nothing about the mundane world. And I needed something that brought the spiritual, God in the heaven with the angels, down with the earth and the plants and the spirits that I saw. Of course, my parents told a small child that what I was seeing did not exist. And as I got older, they started saying it was demonic that I was seeing these things. So while I was still in my single digits, I learned to zip my lips about it. Okay. Now, when I became an adult and moved out of my family's home, I was searching for something that was going to bring that spiritual that was so important to me, and bring it down to earth, literally bring it down to earth, so that I could combine my love of plants and gardening and the garden spirits and the earth spirits and the wards of the land, the guardians that keep this planet. I have a personal relationship with them, and yet I wanted to still hold on to the spirituality of my parents. And so I, with a deity and a hierarchy of spirits, I found the Druids. Now, my great 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 grandfather, I think he's my father's grandfather, is a white man from Ireland. All right. And so I thought to myself, well, because I believe in the ancestors, I do ancestral reverence and that sort of thing. I said to myself, I have an Irish, um, I have an Irish grandfather, to the point where my maiden name reflects his name. So great grand. So I said, let me try something that is very well known to the Irish, and that's Druidry. So I became a Druid. I was a Druid. I stayed with the Druids for about 21 years. And when I retired, I had already brought up 2 covens, and I was already a high priestess. And I retired and I retired around the time that I met you, because it was not feeding my soul. It was not feeding my Black soul. It was feeding the soul, the part of me that was Irish, but it wasn't feeding the part of me that was Black Jamaican. All right. So I retired, all in good stead. I'm in great with all those people still. In fact, my fellow priest was Dr. E. And I know you know him. I know you know him. And his passing was part of the things that made me realize that I needed to move on to something else. He loved conjure and he loved hoodoo, and he's the one who introduced it to me many years ago. And when I say introduced it to me from a American standpoint, as opposed to a Jamaican standpoint. So I was learning it from this land, the spirits of this land. And it really feeds my soul, because I have a strong relationship with my ancestors, which I always have had, which was encouraged even as an evangelical Christian. My family encouraged a certain amount of respect for those who had gone before, understanding that, as the Yorubans say, if we stand tall, it's because we stand on the mighty shoulders of our ancestors. And it just fed my soul, because I could honor and venerate my ancestors and learn about the plant medicine in this land. I could, like any good Druid, still talk to trees, still communicate. And I say that kind of facetiously. It's kind of a joke, but it's kind of true. To the spirit of the lands. And it feeds my soul. It just rounds me out in a way that nothing has ever rounded me out. So now people are like, okay, Beverley, so tell me what your religion is, because I have to tell the truth. I don't consider myself a Christian. I no longer consider myself a Druid. So here I am, a Black woman who used to be a Druid, who's now a conjure woman, and I'm a 2-headed conjure woman. You said you'd talk about that. I'll make a little side trip on that. I deal with both hands. So when I do my magic, I'm willing to work with both hands. I am a justified worker in that I will not do anything unless it is justified. And I check with my spirits, I check with my ancestor, I check with my God, I check with my readings. I do divination to determine whether I am justified to move forward in any circumstance, whether it be for ill or whether it be for good. I must be justified before I start working on that. But oh, I forgot my train of thought before that. I was going down a really good road.
You were saying that you had, I think you were going on the path of saying, what's your religion? People saying to you,
yes,
what's your religion?
What's my religion? That's correct. You know, it's taken me a few years to see how I could define myself. And now I believe that my religion is justice. I believe that my religion is justice. And instead of working towards redemption, we are working towards freedom and full liberation and full self potential. I am very much aware that all of us live in a certain system in this country. Our cultural mores, our political mores, we're all in a system. However, we can grow within ourselves. We can have liberation within ourselves. We can find freedom within ourselves. And we're only going to do that by knowing who we are. You, Pamela, you have to know who you are, Miss Pamita. I have to know who I am. And only through that do we have strength. And only through that, once we know who we are, once we each individually have a footing on truth and a footing on justice and a footing on accountability and a footing on understanding that our words and our actions have meaning, and they have consequences for the good and for the bad. You know, back in the day when they're like, your words have consequences, it was always about the bad things. Honey, my words have consequences for the good as well. All right. And so I want people to understand that we are living in perilous times right now, but we have to, each and every one of us, be accountable to our own conscience, to our own ancestors. You can't lie to your people. They're looking at you right now and they know what you're about. Am I wrong?
You're totally 100% right. I'm just listening.
we have to be accountable to our people.
Yeah.
To our ancestors and to our deities. Okay. And to our spirit guides. That's where we have to be accountable. And when we do that, including being honest with ourselves and dealing with what we need, that's when we're going to really find freedom. That's when we're really going to find liberation. And that's when we're going to find what we need to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about the thing that you said that really struck home for me is that checking in with your guides, checking in with your deities, checking in with your ancestors, and checking in. I'm a spiritualist. And as a spiritualist, I'm always talking to my spirit guides. My ancestors are always with me. I always have a moment every morning and a moment every night, more than a moment, where I stay at my ancestor altar and I have a chat with them. And then throughout the day, we chat as well. But I will say, when people sometimes will ask you to do all kinds of spiritual work, and I say, I have to check in with my guides. Some of it I know they're going to say yes to, and they're going to just rubber stamp something. But breakup work is a great example of that. Mm-hmm. People ask me to do breakup work all the time. I am that, quote unquote, lady-hearted worker who really doesn't go and won't go for clients into cursing or hexing and that, because why? Because my guides say, you don't go there. And I'm like, okay, right. I submit to, even if the desire is within me of like, I'm gonna, I go, okay, I can't go there. But breakup work is one of those great areas where it's almost case by case basis. Back when I was when I was doing that. I'm not really doing that anymore. I'm doing my new moon work and that's it. But people would say, "Oh, will you do breakup?" And even with people that were in, I had to ask every single time, and 90% of
You
the time they
have
said
to.
no.
Yeah.
Once in a while
No,
they
you
say
have
yes.
to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
really have to, especially when it's a third party wanting to get the breakup work done. You really have to consult your ancestors because there's always 100% of the time an ulterior motive. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I'm not
yeah,
saying it's a
yeah.
bad one. I'm not saying it's a bad one, but whenever there's third party breakup work, now I will do, if one of the couple comes to me and says, give me something that will help this separation be easier. If the couple has already agreed to separate and they're just having an awful, horrible time at each other's throats, but they both want this to end, then I will intervene in that. But third party breakup, oh, hell no.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of the time, it's people just clinging. Sometimes it's people clinging to something that the universe may be telling them it's time to let it go. And that more often than not is the case, is that they're fearful of venturing out into the unknown, fearful of, being on their own. And then why are they fearful of being on their own? They are afraid of being alone with themselves. So it's a whole deeper issue,
Oh, right. Right.
So yeah. I mean, it's like, but well, shoot. Do you want to get to some questions? I know you want to talk about
Sure.
being a two-minute doctor. We kind of talked about it. It's that you
No,
are
we did.
doing,
We talked about it. We
yeah,
did. Sure. Questions are
for
good.
yeah. So that technically that means that you aren't just working on magic that's only that beneficial magic, but that you will work on some magic that might be punitive or might be binding or something like that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I will take on sexual predators. You have to understand, a lot of my clients are in vulnerable professions. All right. Um, Many of them have, I'm parsing my words, small children that may be at risk. So I will deal with abusers, physical abusers. I will deal with verbal abusers. I will deal with sexual predators. I will deal with pedophiles. And I will deal with all of them after consulting my spiritual court, after divination. But yes, that's what I mean, because we've all heard about love and light, but there is no light without the darkness. So you have to have balance. You have to have balance. And so I have great deal of respect for those who will only work within the light, because some people like yourself are instructed to buy your spiritual court. Some people should not touch that stuff at all. You know why? Because it's heavy shit. Okay. It's heavy shit to, you know, deal with energies that, unless you're dealing with them correctly, can be chaotic, energies that can cling to yourself. And that's why I don't suggest anybody to do punitive work for themselves unless they are very, very skilled. And they need to understand that if they go to workers, even a worker that's willing to entertain the idea, and entertain is the wrong idea, the wrong word, but a worker that's willing to consider it, they will always do a divination first.
Yeah, an ethical worker will. I mean, there's all kinds of people out there will just
Oh,
say
that's true. That's
anything.
true.
But
That's
if
true.
I think that's a great tip for people when they're looking for a spiritual worker, is to see, does that person require some kind of reading or some kind of session or some kind of consideration before they do the work, or are they just taking your work and doing it without
Mhm.
asking you any questions or finding out more? Because a lot of times, as you know, I know you know this, is like people come in and they want this spell, that I want this
Yes.
spell, but then you do a divination, go, actually, what you need is this other thing. this is what's really going on. So you getting the come to me spell, if you don't work on the communication, there's no point in doing the come to me, you know.
Mhm.
You got to do the other thing first. So let's get to
Absolutely.
some questions.
I had people come to me saying they want the In Tranquil spell. And I'm like, I don't mess with that energy. You know, you go on with your bad self. You go do the In Tranquil spell yourself. There's certain energies I won't mess with.
No.
I don't like to mess with that. And I don't like inflammatory confusion either.
Yeah.
Because to me, confusion can be a useful outcome, but confusion is a temporary situation. You need permanent outcomes. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
just creating chaos, really, isn't it? It's just creating more chaos in a situation.
Exactly, especially that in tranquil spirit. That's all about the chaos. And if you are not a person who is sensible, ethical, not even ethical, because ethical people can do it and still it comes back on them. But let's just say, I'll be as crude as I can right now. Forgive me.
That's all right. Go ahead.
When you throw shit at the fan,
where does it go?
so exactly. So you have to be careful, especially people that are not particularly schooled in how to protect themselves from magical energies that could result in messing around with stuff like that.
I have a brief In Tranquil Spirit story. I had a client when I was it's probably 10 years ago. I had a client came to me and said, will you do an In Tranquil Spirit spell on my ex? And I said, I don't do In Tranquil Spirit. They really wanted it. I said, don't mess with that stuff. That is not, there's a lot of other solutions. You don't have to go there. They didn't want to get a reading. They just wanted to do, they heard about it, read about it somewhere, and they wanted to do it. Well, then a month later, that same client comes back to me. Can you help me? Can you help me? My ex has cancer now. I'm like, wow, I wonder why that happened.
That's awful. That's awful.
And so now they're dealing with this. And I go, you know, I was putting up every red alert warning kind I could do, but they were bound and determined to do that. So it's like when you get into that heavy shit, you better be sure you know what you're doing, and you better be willing to accept whatever outcome comes, because that outcome can be harsh. It can be harsh. And so anyway, let's get to some questions. I know, oh my gosh, there's a bazillion questions here.
Oh, cool.
Everyone's so excited to talk to you. All right. All right. Well, our first question is from Nina. Nina says, I have a terrible landlord. I want to move ASAP. What's a good spell for finding a new home? I've been doing the gratitude work, trying to make it happen, I guess, is what. Yeah.
Excellent. I think what's a really good first step, and this is a good first step for all kinds of spell work, but it's particularly good when you have goals like a new home, a new job, a child, is to sit down and write out a petition. List everything that you want in your new space. You may even have a new space, the address of a new space picked out. You may even know that it's going to become available on February 1. Write it all in your petition. Write it all in your petition. I need a 2-bedroom space. I need a good sized kitchen. I need a dishwasher. Not even need, I want dishwasher, a tub, whatever it is you want. Write it down. Also, write down your plans for getting out of your current place, especially if your lease isn't up. That's a whole nother petition. You need someone in there who's going to cover the lease until you can get out of it, that sort of thing. So you're going to write down your details. You're going to be as specific as you can be. And then you are going to burn a road opener candle on top of that petition. A road opener candle. And if the situation looks real tough, like maybe it's January and your lease is up in this December, do a blockbuster as well. But be very, very clear on what you do want, and then move magically in that direction. So that's a good way to start.
That is so on point. That focus of knowing where you're going to go and what you want, it's like essential. Because just to get out of the place, well, you could end up living in your car and nobody
You could
wants
end up
that.
in the car. Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Another thing that I would say too, and maybe add into this, if you don't know where you're going to live, if you don't know where you're going to move to, you might take a little version of that petition, not your long list, but maybe the perfect new apartment or whatever you want to say, and put it in your shoe. Then you'll walk to the place. It will lead you to the place. You just wear that petition paper in your shoe until you get to find the place that you're going to move. It also has that energy when you're putting something in your shoe of moving and getting there and going. So I think that would be another thing that you could add to that, and kind of that's if you don't know where you're going to go.
I love that. That's some old style conjure.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah, put it in your shoe. All right. So, all right. Hi, everybody. Look, everyone's so excited you're here. They're saying hello to you.
Hi, everybody.
From all over the place, from everywhere from New York to California, New Jersey, Colorado, Memphis, everywhere.
That's
oh my
cool.
gosh. They're all
That's cool.
So cool. All right. So, okay. So, Pandita asks, where can we get the oils? DocBev.com. DocBev is where you get the oils.
Yes. Well, they're not on my website yet. So if there's anything you need, you can contact me and I'll tell you what I have. If I don't have it, I can custom make it for you at a regular, reasonable price. I don't charge, ridiculous amount of money for custom work, because up to this point, all my work has been custom. So you can email me if you've got a pen and pencil. I could even type it in. Would you type it in for me?
Yeah, I'll type it in.
Pamita? Good. Info, like information, info at docbev.com.
Okay. So you're going to have 101 people.
You can email me there. You can email me there, and I will tell you what I have. I have conditioned oils. I have conditioned soaps and incense, conditioned incense. So contact me and I will be able to help you out. And if I can't help you out and you tell me that you need a customized blend, I'll sit down with you. I'll figure out what conditions you have, what you need, and I will put together a wonderful blend for you that not only will be very effective, but will smell wonderful as well.
I love that. I have to say, you broke the record. 101 is the most we've ever had in here. I've been to the point of 70, 80s. You're a superstar.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
All right. So Brianna wants to know, how can I learn to do bone readings? I live in Southern California.
Oh,
and what is bone reading? Vivian's asking, what is bone reading? So people want to know.
All right. Bone readings are when you take bones, shells, and curios and you bless them and dedicate them to divination. And you then throw the bones when a question is asked, and the bones which you have already sat down with your ancestors and you at your ancestor altar and assigned different meanings to these bones, shells, and various curios like dominoes, curios like a watch face, curios like a doll head, or a coin. Everyone's bone set is completely different. Everyone's bone set that they have put together, not one that you buy online, although Michelle Jackson's is a wonderful starter kit. That's where I started. It took me 2 full years to put my bone kit together, only because every time I thought I was done, I'd be somewhere and something would catch my eye and say, I want to be in the bone kit, and I'd have to get it. And that's the thing. You have to listen. You have to listen to the spirit of those curios, because they will tell you whether they want to be in the bone kit or not. That's why when you're amassing your kit for divination, you're going to sit in front of your ancestor altar and introduce each piece to your ancestor altar. And at that point, you and your ancestors and your deities are going to decide what each one of those stand for. That's the short class. If you want the real class, the fantastic class, you must deal with the great, the wonderful, esteemed Michelle Jackson. And I hope that Madame Pamita can get you to Michelle's email. I don't have it on the tip of my tongue. Everything is in my phone. All my contacts are in my phone. I have no idea. If I lose my phone, I'm in trouble. But Michelle Jackson, she is amazing. She is the premier bone reader in this country right now. And she does have a show, and she has a blog. I believe her blog, wait, it's coming to me. boneshellscurios.com. No spaces. boneshellscurios.com.
Boneshells and curios.com.
And curios. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm finding it right now while you're talking so that I can put it in the
I believe that Michelle Jackson does teach workshops on this, and I believe she may teach private lessons. I'm not sure, but please be in touch with her and tell her Doc Beverley sent you. I miss her. I haven't seen her in person since over a year ago when we were at the Mile High Concert Gala in Denver, which was fabulous, which is where I saw you, Miss Renee. Renee is in your chat room.
It's so great. It's so
That's
great.
where I met her.
So I put that down in the chat so you can see it there. That's Michelle Jackson's website. So if you want to go, if you want to learn about, she has an amazing book. So you can start there. If you're just curious and you don't know, can I take a class or do I want to take a class? You can start with her book. She's got an amazing book. You can start there and then find out from her if she's teaching online or, I'm sure she's doing something. Everybody's teaching online. Because what else can you do right now, So you can find out, get a reading from her and ask her questions too. That's another way to learn.
And she's fantastic. And I would recommend getting a reading from her any day of the week. She is amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. She's fabulous. She's fabulous. So Pamela has a question. Dr. Beverley, you mentioned hoodoo being for the people. Would you speak to the thought of gatekeepers that are saying that hoodoo is for a specific culture? Do you feel like taking that one on?
Okay, well, it's very interesting because everybody has different feelings. And I know when she says gatekeeping, that tells me how she feels. But the way that I feel about it is I feel that it definitely, let's just be straight up.
Be real.
This is a Black culture. This is Black culture. This is African American culture. Now, how do I feel about people being involved? That is different because people are different. My feelings are different regarding different people. Let's just say if you come to my home and I invite you in and I serve you a wonderful meal and we sit together and you admire the beautiful things in my home and you're enjoying my company and you like what you're seeing and you love me, but when you leave, you steal something from my home and then you go and you have a thrift shop or something and put what you took from my home up for sale without giving credit, I have a big problem with that. I have a big problem with people who come into, say, my home and act with disrespect. I have a problem with people who come into my home and say, well, everything belongs to everybody. And they don't acknowledge the people who created and sustained the tradition. No one is arguing. This is a Black African American tradition. It is not Caribbean. It is not Brazilian. It is not an ATR, although people who are in the African traditions, many of them do practice it. It is, in some places it is an initiatory tradition. In many places it is not. But we cannot forget that even with the influence and the sharing of ideas between the Native American people that the enslaved Africans encountered when they first were brought here, and later some German, like Appalachian people added to it. And as it went on, the Jewish chemists started adding to it. But its foundation is African American. Do I have a problem with people doing it and practicing it? Of course not. Otherwise, I would not have workshops that include anybody that wasn't African American. And remember, I'm not African American myself. I'm Jamaican American. I'm first generation American. So I'm just as American as you and me, but I'm not you and, you and everyone else, but I'm not African American. And even I have to constantly pay homage, give credit where credit is due. We don't go into someone else's home, take their stuff without permission, turn around and say, look what I have and look what I'm doing, and do it without paying respects and giving the credit where credit is due. So yeah, I have problems when people come into Conjure and say, this isn't about anything. I can do whatever I want with it. And I don't have to admit that it's, Black. We're not going to have that conversation. I have a problem with that. But thankfully, those people are far and few. And when I explain it as in, you can't come into my house and take something that belongs to me and then turn around and say, oh, look what you discovered. And now you're going to capitalize on it without saying, actually, I took that from Doc Bev's house. Do you see what I'm saying? So when we give credit to the people who developed this system, then we are being respectful, and we can use it being respectful. We have to be respectful. We have to acknowledge the root. And when we acknowledge the root, then we can move forward with honesty and clarity, as long as we're telling the truth about what the system really is. I hope that was a good explanation.
That's a great analogy. And I think the one thing I would even add to that is that if you're coming from outside of the culture, it's on you, the person outside of the culture, to do your deep work and deep understanding, and you have to do the work. It's not for the people who are within the culture to do the work for you. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying, right?
I do. I do get it. But I think it's good for you to repeat that, because while I understand exactly what you're saying, not everyone has even given that any thought.
You're the guest in the home. In other words, you're the guest in the home.
And so being the guest in the home, it's up to you to understand the cultures of that home. And it's like, just an example, in 91 or so, I met my first Japanese family that I met at work, and they invited me over to their home. When I got to their home, we had to take our shoes off. Now, I was raised taking my shoes off at the door, because you don't track filth into the house. But not only did you have to take your shoes off with this Japanese family, but you had to change into a pair of saki. They're like socks with like little grippy things on the bottom, so you wouldn't, like non-slip soles. So for me, that was an education. That's a good way of expressing it. I'd always taken my shoes off at the door, but they required another level of cleanliness. Now, it was incumbent upon me to accept what they were asking of me, to understand that it was their culture, or to simply leave their home. I don't have to agree, and I don't have to put up with it. But if I don't agree and don't want to put up with it, I should simply leave their home.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. Respect the root, respect the legends, respect respect that hoodoo was developed as a system of magic for survival. It was developed by Black enslaved Africans and Native Americans. It was developed under oppression. It was developed to help to deal with the daily horrors and the daily burdens that that system entailed. So it's not just about catching your man. It's about keeping,
Yeah.
but I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also about remember, these developed from keeping my man home from being sold. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just about, punishing that bitch for stealing your man. It's about holding master off from tearing your family apart. So we have to remember that this is all developed from a foundation of oppression, of fighting against oppression. So it's always to make people's lives better. You can use hoodoo to make your life better. Please do. That's what it's there for. Remember, the Bible tells us, for those of us that believe in the Bible or not, the Bible is an amazing book of spells. And the Bible tells us that every green plant is for our use. So if you want to use, and a lot of cultures use herbs and use plants, a lot of them use them in magic. Like I said, the Caribbean obia is the same sort of system, but using the Caribbean plants. When you decide that you are going to join a system of magic or utilize a system of magic, try to remember where it comes from and try to hold something in your heart for the people. Try to hold something in your heart for the people. Remember, this is a system of fixing conditions. So, every once in a while, light a candle for world peace. Every once in a while, light a candle for justice. Every once in a while, light a candle for truth and for freedom. Don't just say, well, I'm going to get me my fast luck and I'm going to get that apartment. I'm going to keep my man here at the house. All of that is important. I'm going to be, I'm going to make friends and influence people. I'm going to bring a new love. All of that is important. All of it. Just remember that when you are using the system of somebody else's magic to pay homage, to give a libation in some regards, some people could call it a libation, when you show that you know where the magic comes from and you honor that all that does is empower your magic. All that does is make the ancestors of this system, of this magical system, look upon you fondly.
Oh, I love that. Well, do you believe our hour has gone by?
Unbelievable. Oh, it's after 6.
Our hour, it always goes by in a blink, doesn't it? And I actually have to go teach a workshop right now. But oh my God, Doc Beverley, it has been so great having you here. We're going to have you on again because you have so much knowledge to share. If you will come back again.
Oh, I would love to come back. I would love to come back. If you could print out the chat so we could get, if you could retain the chat so we can answer some of these questions again, because there's a lot of good questions here.
Oh my gosh.
Questions. And I'm so grateful to the whole bunch of you for joining. Thank you so much.
Gosh.
It was really good to see all of you. Oh my goodness. I see Annalisa. I see Katie. I see Becca. I see Aurelia. Oh my goodness.
You remind me of you remind me of Miss Marianne on Romper Room.
Yes.
I see that person. I see that.
Okay. You know what we're doing? We're belying our age, right? We're telling people our age. Can I just tell you, I was so sad. Sad. She never looked in that thing and said, I see Beverly.
She never said Pam either. She never said my name either.
I know.
We're in that same club.
We're telling people our age, girl. You know what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
I'm an old crone and I'm proud of it. I don't care.
I do. I'm a crone and I'm proud of it too. Oh my goodness. Thanks to everyone who attended. Love to you all. Happy New Year. And please, oh my God, stay well. Don't let that Rona get you.
Yeah. Wear your mask. Stay well. take care of your family, take care of others. I mean, for me, that's the big takeaway. Think about someone else, right?
Think about someone
Think about
else.
someone
Think about
else.
someone else. You
You're
know,
wearing that mask for them. You're not wearing it for you. So
be kind to
yes,
one
and
another.
be
Be
kind to one
kind.
another for
Be
sure,
kind.
for sure. Well, Beverley, take care. We'll have you on again. Like I'm all booked out through the spring, but we'll have you. When I do my next round of booking, I'll get you back in
I'd
summertime
love it.
or yeah.
I'd love it. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's great to see you. Take care, everyone. Have a beautiful week. Don't forget, Dr. Beverley is going to be teaching a class. If you want more, she's going to be teaching a class at the Detroit Hoodoo. And is it going to be online or is it going to be in person? We
We
think it's
don't
going to
know
be in
yet.
person.
We don't know yet. We're hoping to do it in person, but we're going to have to watch and see what happens.
Okay, so you can keep in touch with her. You have her email, you have her website. Keep in touch with her and get some of her fabulous oils, and get some of those fabulous incense and oils and all that great stuff she makes. All right, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. My guest next week is Marcus Keys, who's an amazing worker, and he works with keys. He's a beautiful root worker. He's an amazing guy, and I'm so excited to have him. So join us next week. And we'll see you soon, Beverley. Take care. All right.
Thank you. Everyone stay well. Bye-bye.
Bye.